I love the question, what's next, because it allows me a moment to stop and think about what's happened in the past and where things are going. I spent 10 years as the editor of a weekly newspaper in Sante Fe, New Mexico, and as much as I love the day-to-day of putting out a newspaper, I really loved once or twice a year going to workshops with my colleagues from all over the country and hearing about what was next. You look at the entire history of media, incremental change, and then the last 10 years, boom, and it's still happening. So what will happen next? There will be failure. There will continue to be failure in all grounds. And that sounds very depressing, but I think what's important in the last 10 years is to take away some important lessons. And the lesson is fear of failure is failure, and sometimes trying something great is failure. So if we look at the elements of the change that's happened, what do we have? This rapid need for skills development. Journalism used to be a one-way street. You would put your story out there, and if somebody wanted to communicate about it, they could write, we used to have this thing called a letter to the editor. People would actually write you a letter, and you would publish it or not publish it. Those days are gone. It's a two-way street of audience engagement.
Do you see a future for this new form of media which has come up? I mean, stories which can engage the mind?
The kind of sites you're talking about, aggregator sites like BuzzFeed that aggregate news from all over. I mean, BuzzFeed is tremendously successful at what it does. But part of the reason for that is because they're doing it well. For every BuzzFeed, there's been 10 aggregator sites that have been atrocious. And BuzzFeed is doing it well because they hired professional journalists to help with the curation of it. So BuzzFeed, a site like Mashable, a lot of the big aggregators where the money is and that are succeeding, number one, they did social media right, but number two, they hired journalists. So the good news, there's a lot of media jobs out there. They look completely different, and in some ways they are different, but you still need core skills to have them. You still need to know how to report a story, how to gather news, how to interview someone. The tools may change, but as long as there's flexibility and a willingness to learn new things, it's not the skills that are the problem. It's not those skills that are the problem. No one expects you to come in ready to work on a technology that hasn't been invented yet, but they'll expect you to know how to go get a story and be flexible.
I'm working right now with NETV Good Times, which is lifestyle TV channel here.
Yeah.
And I think they've started taking journalism to these lifestyle shows as well. What I'm trying to get at is that people want to make documentaries in a very journalistic point of view, or want to combine these two sensibilities in a way.
I agree with you completely, and a lot of what I had the opportunity to do with the Pearl students this week, and they were really amazing students. I met so many bright young students in sort of the fashion industry and fashion communication, but that's what we talked about a lot. We talked about how pervasively you see journalism in every sector now, especially fashion, but lifestyle as well, and that hopefully my fantasy is that it takes over reality TV, so rather than a fake documentary style, but I'm a little bit of an optimist, but I agree with you, absolutely.
Thank you.